All right. Welcome to another edition of the Two Men with Mike's podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Bobby Joe, and
And
my
I'm.
other host.
Oh, my bad. I cut you off
Oh no,
already.
no,
Man,
you're
I'm gonna get
good.
that one
You're
right.
good. No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'm CJ, the bald headed thief. Nah.
Just so what's going on? Well, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was lovely, man. I did a little traveling and all that. It was lovely. So I'm
Yeah,
back home. I'm good.
you good? Yeah,
Yeah,
I was going to Trader Joe's and doing some other things and just doing that kind of stuff. So just stayed close to home. Didn't do too much. Weather was beautiful here in the Atlanta area. So just hung out, and relaxed.
I thought you were gonna hit it with the Ackworth.
With the
Georgia.
Ackworth, with this the straight out of Ackworth
Yeah,
hashtag I use.
yeah.
I try to keep that or save that for Facebook. But
Oh, okay.
sometimes hashtag straight out of Ackworth. Yeah. So,
My bad.
but man, I was gonna get right into it because I've been seeing a lot of. I'm in these groups on Facebook, and I wanted to get your opinion, and you can add, give us your perspective. But I see all these things and hear all this stuff about men or women being men's piece. Like the ladies in groups will ask guys, well, what do you want from us, or what is some advice, or what are some things you want us to know, take some relationship advice. And I hear all this stuff about these men saying, well, I need you to be my piece. I hear it all the time, and either that or talking about who splits the bills and submitting to a man and all that. But yeah, what do you think your take on and your idea definition, or being a man's piece? What does that look like to you?
First, well, I mean that's a good question. Good question. You might make me
Yeah,
stumble a little bit, but
because I
sometimes
have
try to
no
be
idea.
politically correct at the same time. But
Me too. Because I have no idea what I'm going to say. That's why I asked you to go first.
oh, okay. All right, don't follow this train, but you might want to get off the tracks because it might not be what you want. But but for real though, I think first of all, before I even jump into mine, I think that men themselves need to be at peace first with themselves,
That's
and their own peace should be like their piece should be their own pieces, which I would
right,
say is them. So that mean whoever comes into the picture, they're only I would say complimenting that
right.
because if you're at peace with yourself, the first thing you're gonna see or notice is this person is gonna disturb your peace and it's gonna ruin what you have. And
Hmm.
then you should have enough strength or be a vocal enough person to cut that off before it happens.
Right,
If you're strong, as I was taught, if you're strong within your suit, if you notice something that's gonna mess up that whole surrounding, then you're gonna push out. But some people will just keep it instead of just
right,
being they're not strong enough or strong enough in their suit to say no. I'm not. Nah, I'm not dealing with you. Right.
right, right.
So, get into being at peace. I mean, I think it's just self-explanatory to be honest. Like if you're doing one thing as a single person,
Hmm.
you deal with we all have our stress and things throughout the day, right?
Hmm.
And this is coming from a man's perspective because I can see the women be like, what about them being at peace to us? And at the same time be like, look, if I'm at peace with myself and you come in and still be at peace, my peace, then automatically in return you will get that peace
Right.
back. It's a that two-way street. But anyway, so we as men we deal with a lot of things, right? You know this. So
Yes, we do.
uh I think that piece of it, your day to day life, no matter what's happening outside, that person that's with you inside will never compile that or onto that.
Kind of add to
Yeah,
your stress. Yeah.
yeah. If they're adding to that stress every day, then that person is not your piece.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that. So they're in these relationships and they're going at it with each other all the time, every here and there. I'm gonna be honest. If I got to argue with you more than once a week, and to be
Yeah.
honest, and that's too much for me,
Right.
neither one of us are at peace, bro. I'm gonna tell
Right.
you that right now.
Right. Right.
So I'm trying to explain this, but I'm trying to, but like I said, it's that person should not be the one that gives you the headache, or add to the headache that you have. That
Right.
person should be the one that you come home and say, man, you can sit down and have a comment. Man, I had this problem today, this, and they should be able to say, oh, well, relate to you.
Right.
Just relate to it and give me some reaffirmation that everything's good. And even if everything is not good out there, we still good within here. And we can
Right.
figure everything else out. That should, that's an example of what peace should be. I've been through relationships and I actually learned from probably my first serious relationship that there is better out there. And not saying, but the girl was a great girl, but we were always at ends with each other.
Okay.
And I thought it was a great relationship until I got into a good relationship where there's a young lady that was just, I never had to argue,
So the grass was like greener on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And I
Right.
learned, I was like, man, and then I started becoming, as you say, at peace with myself and realizing. So as her and I moved on from each other, I was at peace with myself. And then when I go into new relationships, I seen what it should be.
Okay.
So therefore I never dealt on a serious level with people that didn't complement what was going on in my universe, mentally or, and all this. And it worked. It works out. I mean, I don't I don't fight. And, I think, I always tell you all the time, man, I'm good. I'm at peace, bro. I didn't need, I ain't got to do this. I ain't got,
Right.
look.
Right. Right.
And it's true. I don't have to be with that person or that
Right.
lady. I don't have to be with her because there's, 101 other ones outside of that can do just as better without all the BS. And
True.
I'll keep rambling on about this. I'm gonna let you.
No. Well, I was going to say you kind of stole some of my thunder, stole some of my answer with the part about being at peace with yourself. Because I used to think, oh, well, yeah, I just need her to be my peace. That was my answer too. But I think some guys, I think a lot of times with women, and I could be wrong, when they hear that, some do that, oh, well, you just want me to go along with all your bullshit, or you and just kind of go along with it and not argue with you. Or if I see something that you're doing that I don't like, I'm just supposed to shut the hell up and go along with it. Because I think some men, honestly, that's their definition of, yeah, I just need you to shut the hell up and just go along with what I'm doing. And I don't think that's the case. I like you said, is if you're happy with yourself, because I always say I can't make you happy. You have to do that yourself. Like I can provide an environment for you to be happy in, do my best to provide that type of environment, but I can't make you happy. You're solely responsible for your own happiness, which ties into being at peace with yourself. And I think if you had two people who do that, who are at peace with themselves, and more importantly, effective communicators, then I think the relationship can be easier. I know you're going to argue if or have disagreements. If you're with someone long enough, you're going to have you're just going to have conflict, and more. And what's most important to me is how you handle that conflict. So, and it's crazy. People would look at me crazy. I was talking to a friend of mine, and you was telling her, she was talking about this guy she was interested in, and I was telling her, like, one of the first things I need to see is how you handle conflict. Do you shut down? Are you a yeller? Do you curse? Do you resort to putting your hands on people?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, those are just some examples. And being at peace, I think is kind of, not being jealous, not trying to check and see where I am all the time. You got a life outside of me, and which means having friends. You aren't so clingy. And I think if you're not, and granted, nobody's perfect. I get it. We all have our own issues that we have to work on and get better at. We're not gonna be perfect. So, but to me, for me, peace is just talking the issues out in a rational, calm manner, using some logic, being logical, and I'll probably get in trouble for this, not going off based off emotion.
Yeah.
Like
It's kind of hard for women to do that.
yeah, and not going off emotion. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's just I always used to have this issue where I wanted everything to be great all the time. I just want to be great and not have to. I think I watched too many romantic comedies, like I don't know, Brown Sugar. I started watching Brown Sugar the other day. Like I want everything to be great all the time. I'm watch a black romantic comedy and just look cool, and we can look cool together and drink wine and not have to worry about anything. But life gets in the way. The bills. Hey, the dishwasher might break. You got to get repairs on the car. So everyday life, you could be romantic and go out on date nights, but it's not the movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know I was going on and on, but I could talk about that kind of stuff like forever. I think like I said, I go back to what I said. I think some men, their idea when they say, I want you to be my pieces, you shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And
which is not, and I like something you said was like actually a key thing was you said that, and I went through the same thing that we need to like basically find out who we are first and be happy with who we are. And that was the thing when I was in that I'll call it even toxic relationship, but after down the road after all that, I started becoming into who I was, and I started learning who I was and started becoming happy with who I was. I wasn't happy before. So, I was always straight willing to engage in the arguments and the fights and stuff. So when I got into, I'll just say kind of who I am now, who I am to be or who I am to be or whatever, I learned. So like if somebody try to argue with me, especially when it comes to ladies, if you argue with me, a lot of times you won't get it back. I'm not going to have the argument with you because I already know that chances are if you sit here having this whole argument loudly with me, a lot of times I say, hey, why your voice high?
Right.
If somebody, in some of the relationships before, like, hey, why is your voice high? Why you need to make your voice high?
Right.
We can be adults and talk about this because it's going to get a better outcome. All that yelling is not going to make the outcome, any better. So
it's going to make everybody mad.
Yeah. And I said, what's the point? And I remember telling one lady, female, so we were dating and it kind of threw her, but I said, she kind of tried to go off on something, which was the first time. I was like, hey, I'm not your enemy. I'm on your team.
Yeah.
So why are you coming at me, yelling at me like this? What's the point? And she looked at me because she was so used to arguing and, just all that stuff. Instead of like, I'll say rationally having that conversation. Now I know you might get your voice might come up a little bit, which is fine. But, I say storming off, throwing stuff, having tension tantrums, as I call them. Obviously the high screaming and almost hitting. Hands on each other.
Yeah.
Whatever situation you got, those things will never make it any better. And like I said, those things will kill every bit of your peace. It might be a temporary moment, but I think that when you start doing those things, you put bricks up on a wall within that relationship. And I always make people like, what? Like, well, I always say, imagine two people standing in front of each other, having conversation all the time, kissing, lovey, hubby, huggy dubby. I can't even say huggy duggy, whatever it is.
Lovey dovey. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, all lovey dovey. Yeah. So every time you have these arguments and fights, you put another brick on that wall in between you two.
Yeah.
I've always said that. And it's hard to sometimes come back because you have a clean slate with each other.
Right.
So the more you keep building that wall between us, the work you think about it, that communication is not going to be there anymore because there's a wall between us.
Yeah. Yeah.
The lovey-dovey is not going to be there. You steady building this wall between the two and killing that relationship unless you're trying to get it back. Now you got to figure out how to, kind of knock the bricks back down one by one. So that's why I say, and like I said, I was with a young lady for a decade. And between that decade, I say we really never had an argument.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we have had conversation. You know, there's been like a conversation that I said because there was, say for instance, she would ask, "Hey, this is," because she had a problem. "Hey, this is this." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, well, I did, this, blah blah blah."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Well, I just thought maybe this and that and the other. It's not how I expected it or liked it." Okay, cool, and that was it.
Right.
Which,
Right.
when I know those situations should have been arguments in other relationships.
Yeah. You just kind of,
Man, yeah.
hey, she communicated that, or you communicated. She's like, okay,
Yeah, and we
right.
were best just peace. I mean, there's no worries, and that's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
And that's why I said, being in that, I'm a firm believer in those things.
Yeah, address the issue, and then kind of move on.
Yeah,
and, until something else comes up. Yeah, because I'm the type, if you're yelling, then I'm not trying to listen or hear anything you have to say. I don't even want to. I'm like, all right, you know what? Can you stop yelling? We'll talk about when you stop yelling.
yeah. I tell them in the beginning of a relationship now. I'm like, look, if you all about to argue and you're gonna be yelling, I'm not gonna do it with you.
Yeah.
So go on another one. Like, what are you ladies like? Well, we got to argue. No, we don't have to argue. That's the problem.
Exactly.
You feel you have to. At
Yeah.
the same time, like, whole thing was about peace, but you killing my peace.
Exactly.
Not even I'll say it like, nah, you're not gonna disturb the peace I have. I was good before you got here.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you gonna make me? Or are you gonna make things better, or are you gonna make it worse? That's your two options.
Yeah. Are you the problem or the solution?
Yeah. So if you're gonna make it worse, I'm not gonna deal with you. And then
Right.
and I cut them off in a hot second and don't even
Right.
look back at them. And
Walk out.
I'll be honest. Like one that texts me now. I'm always talking like, hey, I can't believe you did that, cut me out, blah blah blah, just like that. What's going on? And you're trying to have conversations, but I'm like, my conversation with you was just strictly, platonic. Hey, what's up? I've been that road with you. I'm good. I don't have to go back because,
Right.
like I said, I'm good where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And then and she always kind of, refers back to it and say, I can just like, no, I can be peaceful with you now, have conversation, but there's no, I don't have a need for you at this point in life,
Right.
because I know where you stand. So, and then later on, she'll forget to have conversation about some dudes she be with, how they argue in a fight. And I'm like, in my
Right.
head, I'm like, exactly why I'm not there with you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
And I think a lot of them, they don't believe us when we say, well, I'm a if you do this again or do that, I'm gonna cut you off or whatever. And I'm a real quick story. You probably don't remember, but I was seeing this woman years ago, and she did something, and I told her, don't do that again, or it's over. I'm gonna cut you off. And she did it again, and I was done. And we were at you and I were at the casino one night, and she was there, and I think you were meeting her for the first time, and she said something to you. She was like, "Yeah, you're your friend, but he cut me off. I can't believe he cut me off." And I remember I was talking to you about it. I was like, "Well, I told her not to do that thing again," and I don't even remember what it was, but I was like, "You're getting on my nerves with this, and if you do it again, I don't think that sometimes, and even could be men too, that they're not going to walk away from this." I don't know if ego comes into play. You're not gonna walk away from this or whatever.
Yeah.
No, some of us will.
exactly.
We will. So yeah, I was like, hey, I don't know. I just, when I hear it all the time, be his piece, or be her piece or whatever. I just, for me, it just, I don't know. It just, I know it means different things to different people. I don't like to argue. I mean, I guess that's, to put it in a nutshell, just, I don't want to argue.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
That's what I say. Like my whole thing in a nutshell is, like I said before, either you're gonna add to this, or you're gonna make it worse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have those two options, and then one of them with the exiting door. So
right,
just that simple.
Are you bringing value? Because I'm trying to bring some to your life. Some sunshine, some goodwill, all that. I need you to bring that. What do you? And I want to get. We say that for another one. What do you? Another show. The topic. What are you bringing to the table?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that another time. But I do have a question, and it's one from our viewer last week, Janine. She sent me a bunch of questions. Janine from the Raleigh Durham area
She
wants. Yeah, she came
Loaded.
in. Then she said she was going to ask some of her friends, so we'll probably get some more. But she wants to know, and I hate this word. Why do men ghost women?
Why you? What number one? Why you hate the what ghost?
I don't know what it is. Yeah. I don't know.
So is it more like why do men ignore women?
You know, why do men cut women off? But no, we'll go with ghosting.
I say ghosting.
Why do men ghost women?
In the terms of ghosting, I'm just gonna say that because it's so broad. Because here's the problem: is like when you ghost, if the man is ghosting a woman, it's obvious he don't want to deal with you no more.
Yeah, they don't want to
I
deal
mean,
with
there's
you.
nothing more other past that. It's not like
Or let's say they haven't really they're just meeting and they haven't really gone out on a date yet, and they're talking trying to get to know each other, but then all of a sudden he just cuts off all communication.
Okay, even in that aspect, it's still the
Just-
same thing. He
yeah.
don't want to deal with you, and
Yeah.
it could be for a lot of underlying reasons.
Yeah.
I say, and I'm just gonna make a whole scenario with that one. He was probably talking because you said they just started talking, and they were talking and dating. I mean, they just started dating. If that's the case, he probably was dating somebody else, a few other people, and then got with one. So
Right.
her and whoever else he was dating. I just made up a whole little movie. I don't know, but that's I'm gonna use that.
A BET plus special premiere.
One of them B-rated movies.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah. I mean, but that's what, if you're getting ghosted by a guy, it's hard to say, but because, like I said, there's a lot of underlying things that could go along with it. But
Right.
at the end of the day, you can probably pretty much guarantee that he doesn't want to deal with you anymore for whatever reason. Maybe you didn't, give him some booty. So he was
Yeah.
like, forget that. She ain't down. She ain't trying to get with the program. So I ain't messing with her no more. So, maybe, your breath stank when you and him went out one time, was stinking one day. And he's like, man, her breath stink too bad. I can't deal with that choke,
Or maybe he thinks her standards are too high.
Yeah. And that is another one, actually.
Yeah.
That is actually a real one.
Standards,
guys.
too high. And then I always joke too. I'm like, well, maybe his girlfriend or wife came back into town. He can only call you certain times, or she maybe found out y'all were texting or talking or whatever, and he had to just like
He had to
cut
back
it
up.
off. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but I always hear, and mostly my experience, I hear this from women a lot in groups, like, oh, we were talking, and then all of a sudden, nothing.
Yeah.
I say, take it as a blessing, and I know you want to know, and maybe want some closure. But yeah, I say, I don't know, take it as a blessing, and be like, you know what, move on. For whatever reason, he decided to stop talking to you.
Yeah.
And I know it's easier said than done, but look, take it as a blessing.
But you know how
dodge the bullet.
Yeah, but you know how women are I ain't gonna say emotional, but a lot of women, they just have to know why. And I say you don't have to know why.
Right.
Because if they did do that, then that's not the one for you.
Right.
Or that's not the one that you really are going to be with down the road. Now, if you see him somewhere out in public or wherever it may be, he might hit you back half a year later or something. Hey, what's up? Then you can ask him.
Yeah.
But why would you beat your head up trying to figure out what this other person was thinking and then they didn't have enough time to give you your thoughts
Right.
on why they don't need to speak with you anymore or communicate with you anymore.
Thought of you enough to at least give you an
exactly.
explanation.
That's exactly what I'm saying. If they didn't give you enough time out of their day to be like, hey, this is why, or hey, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Right.
Then you don't. I mean, why would you beat your head up, waste your thoughts, the rent, as they say, that space in your head, then giving them rent in your head,
right?
To figure out what they're thinking.
Yep.
If they can't tell you or don't want to tell you, then you don't need to deal with it. still something else, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not gonna lie. I would probably want to know, but I wouldn't give it a whole lot. You know, it wouldn't be something that would consume me. Man, I wonder why she stopped talking to me or stuff like that. Yeah, like you said, if I bumped into her again, oh yeah, you know, well, I mean, I thought everything was cool, you know, but no, I'm not. I'm not going to just. It's just gonna like I'm thinking about it every day, every other day. Why did she stop talking to me? I need to know. So no, it's not one of those things. So yeah, so. I don't know. This whole song and dance, men and women relationships. We may not ever get it right.
Venus and Mars. Venus and Mars.
That's right. I'm hoping. But yeah. But so that's gonna wrap up another episode of Two Men with Mike's podcast. Always, we like talking to y'all about just everything. You know, like again, two guys in Think Barbershop. We're just talking, shooting the shit.
Yeah, shooting the shit.
That's right. And hopefully, and then ladies too, you have maybe a better understanding of men. We're not trying to give away all our secrets, but you know, I always say men aren't that hard to figure out. We're not we're simple to figure out, I think, but we're not simple minded like some of these ladies out here think we are. We're not. We're not. Yeah.
We're just simple minded when it comes to cheating. That's why we always get caught.
That's what we don't make a plan.
Yeah, we're dummies when it comes to cheating. That's why we always caught up.
Right. Well, look. Stay tuned for the next, episode next week. We'll be back with another episode and some great topics. If your friends haven't hit that subscribe button, tell them to get their ass on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button because I like to check and see how many we got. So yeah,
they get them numbers up.
Get them up. So you guys take care and you enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and we will talk to you later.
Later.